Hey everybody, Corey with Pheromone Robotics here. And before you get started on our coding playlist of tutorials, I just want to say a couple things. So I've only been a programmer for a couple years now, and I'm kind of at what I would consider an intermediate stage, okay? I wouldn't call myself an expert in any way, but I wouldn't quite call myself a beginner either. I mean, you should always be learning, and I don't think it really matters how long you've been programming. You should still learn something every day. But I don't think I'm quite at the beginner stage. I think I've come a long way since I've started. And I understand a lot of people's frustration in learning code, not only at the beginning, and a lot of other programmers still remember what it felt like to learn programming for the first time. It's like learning a whole other language. And there's plenty of materials out there on the internet to learn any language you could ever want. There's stuff on the basics everywhere, okay? Where a lot of the tutorials may stop is before you guys may be satisfied. You know, they'll teach you the syntax and a couple basic problems of maybe summing up all the numbers 1 to 100 or something, you know, maybe a couple little tricks using for loops. I know my first project was making a tip calculator on Codecademy with Python, you know, something like that. And once you get to this intermediate stage, you look around and a lot of the, you know, maybe computer science papers you read or the lectures you get into, they teach you a lot of these big concepts going on in programs, but they don't quite teach you how to implement them. Or they just go way out there. Like some of the computer science papers I see published, the titles sound really fun and cool, and when I read them, I have no idea what's going on. You know, I have no idea what these concepts mean or how I would use them. And so this tutorial series, I wanted to aim at kind of that intermediate level. You know, maybe you've got a couple languages under your belt. You've been programming for a couple months, and you want to know, how do I make some cool things? How do I implement some of the things I've learned in real projects? And so that was a real thing that I struggled with. And, you know, it took a while until I, you know, basically bashed my head against a wall until I could come up with things. And so now that I've done some of these things, I want to go back and teach some of you guys that are maybe stepping into the shoes of an intermediate programmer, someone that's got a little bit of experience in your belt and want to figure out what you want to do with programming. So our first tutorial is going to be on a cloud server. You know, real basic thing with Python and sockets, and it's something practical. You can share files between computers, and we'll spruce it up with a couple commands, and we'll leave it so that you'll understand how to add future commands and how to add nifty little things to the server. But after that, any projects that you guys want to know how to make, or you want to know how to implement, or any concepts you want to see in a real project, you know, just feel free to let me know in the comments or anything, and you know, I'll try to make a tutorial series on that. And we can go through how you're actually going to use this down the road as a programmer. And so it's going to feel a little bit less frustrating when you're stepping fresh out of the academy of learning the basics of programming. You'll know what you're going to want to do and what you're going to do down the line and how you're going to do it. So thanks. Hope you learned something in these tutorial series. I will see you next time.